months ago, I decided to set a goal of running a half marathon. I had never completed such a long race before, and I didn't know how to start properly training for it. I became very overwhelmed thinking about running 13.1 miles, and I was nervous that I would get injured. I realized that I needed a training plan to show me how to break my big goal down into smaller steps so that I could prepare and be successful. A friend recommended a plan from an Olympic runner named Jeff Galloway, so I downloaded it, and it was exactly what I was looking for. It showed me how many miles to run each week so that I'd be ready to go on race day. The training plan said that it would take 19 weeks to complete. So I opened my calendar to look at the date of the race, and then I counted backwards 19 weeks to see when I should start the plan. And that's when I discovered that I should have started training 2 weeks ago. Whoops. So I didn't begin my training on time, but one thing that did go well was that I started off by breaking my big goal of running a half marathon down into smaller weekly goals that I could accomplish without getting overwhelmed. When it comes to project management, I found that the best way to begin planning any new project is to start by building out a timeline and breaking down a project into smaller steps. There are 3 main steps to follow when creating a timeline for a new project. First, think about what needs to happen in order for you to complete your project. List out all the tasks that you or someone on your team will need to complete. Then check to make sure all the tasks are sequenced in the correct order. Personally, I find that if I'm feeling overwhelmed at the beginning of a project, it really helps to see the smaller steps that I can take towards achieving my end goal. So here's an example of a recent project where I listed out my steps. Our company is going to start sending out an email newsletter. To begin this project, I brainstormed all the tasks that need to be completed in order to meet our goal of sending out the newsletter on time. Then I arranged them in the order in which they need to be executed. Some of the steps that I came up with were collecting email addresses, assigning people to write the 4 different sections of the newsletter, formatting the newsletter, proofreading, and sending the newsletter. As you list out and sequence your tasks, you may notice what we refer to in project management as dependencies. This means that a task cannot begin until the previous task is completed. It depends on the prior task. Or you may also notice that your project has some tasks without dependencies, which allows you to work on more than one task simultaneously. Second, estimate how long each task will take to complete. This is also known as duration. Sometimes there's a hard deadline that you can't move, for example, the date of my race. But if you can, I found that it's best to add a little breathing room to your schedule. For example, I thought it would take 1 or 2 days to compile an email list for the newsletter, but I went ahead and estimated 5 days so that the team didn't feel any unnecessary pressure to drop everything and work on the list while they're juggling other projects and responsibilities too. Also, here's a quick tip. If one of your team members will be responsible for completing a task, don't forget to check in with them in advance to see if they will be away on vacation during the project. It's best to know as soon as possible if you need to make an adjustment to your timeline. Third, use backward planning to build your timeline. Determine the desired due date for the project. Then work backwards from your due date. I recommend that you use a project planning tool to help you, or you can use a paper calendar, whatever helps you visualize the time span. A Google search will give you a host of options for online project planning tools, some of them for free. So, grab your calendar and your project management tool, starting with your due date, plot out your last task, and then continue working backwards with each task. This will allow you to see when you need to begin the project. Hopefully you won't find out like I did, that you should have started 2 weeks ago. But if you do, don't panic. You can and should make adjustments to your timeline as you go. Keep an eye on any changes or delays that occur during the project, and don't forget to regularly communicate about your timeline with your stakeholders and team. So there you have it, how to build a project timeline in 3 easy steps. First, list and prioritize the tasks. Second, estimate how long each task will take to complete. And third, use backwards planning to build your timeline. By listing and prioritizing your tasks and estimating how long each will take to complete, you can build your timeline using backwards planning so you can easily manage your project by keeping track of all the tasks.